Hi, everybody. Welcome. If this is the first time that you are tuning in, I am Michelle Solis from This Must Be Ink. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Seekonk, Massachusetts. So this is my monthly One Sheet Wonder workshop where I do a One Sheet Wonder, a little bit different because we cut our paper in half, so we make it 6 by 12. So you'll have two pieces. So you're going to cut one per the template that I created, and you'll make cards with one side of the paper. And then you'll cut the other side of the paper and make a set of cards with the other side. So I started this because I have a lot of old designer series paper and I need to use it up. But I also hate to not use both sides of my paper. So I decided to try a One Sheet Wonder and do it so that I can use both sides. So on my Crafty Kraken Create page, there will be a template. This is the template for tonight. It's episode 15, April 15th, 2026. So this is the template that we will be using tonight. And I am going to be using an old paper that is called, oh, I'm knocking everything over. That is called Very Delightful Designer Series paper. Hard to see, sorry. But it's got a bunch of different berries on the front. So tonight, the page I'm going to use has got strawberries. And let me show you the cards that I created for the samples, and you'll see what we're doing. Okay. Let me go down here. Bring this camera. And go over here. All right. I think it's lined up well enough. Hi, Lorraine. Just trying to get lined up here. All right, that looks pretty good. Okay, so this is the template that we're making or that we're using tonight. It's got a couple of fairly large pieces, and each one of these pieces could be used to make a card. But a couple of these we're going to combine and layer for cards. So let me show you first of all where the inspiration came from for this. I got a card in the mail from one of the members of our Tuesday Zoom group that we do with Chat and Craft with Lorraine. And she sent me this nice little card. It is a flat card. So the card base is 5.5 by 4 1/4. And then it's got a little card on the front that opens like that. And so I thought this was such a cute little card. I thought, well, let me do the pieces here of the designer series paper. And that's what I started with for my One Sheet Wonder. So I've got this 5 1/4 by 4 piece. That's the background. And then this piece in the middle is one of the 3 by 4 1/4 pieces. So that's where the inspiration came from. All right, so here's the cards that I did as the sample. So this one is the one that I made that is like Pam's card. This was with the blueberry paper. So this has got the, I used Blueberry Bushel. I think this is actually Pacific Point, which is a retired color as well. Hi, Anna. Hi, Betsy. Thanks for joining. And so I used the large piece and then the small piece on the front for this little card. Okay, and then I used the B piece from the template on this card with matte and then just a little sentiment. And then the C piece on this card with a little matte. That's a good size for the middle of a card. And then the 2 D pieces I combined together for this card. Okay, So that was one side of the paper. The other side of the paper, I did the same card, you can see, same layout, but instead of having the small card on the front, I made this a regular card. Oh, I forgot my insert. Typical me. So there's that one. And then this one, this time I took the B piece and combined it with the one of the D pieces for the front of this card. And then on the last one, I combined one of the C pieces and one of the D pieces. So this template gives you some good size pieces that you can use separately, or you can combine them on your card fronts. All right, so let's get to cutting. So let me get I'll put the template here so you can see it, and get my trimmer. All right, so first thing we will do is cut our paper right in half. And this paper does not have really direction. I mean, it can go really either way. Well, I guess the strawberries would be sideways, but I think that if you're using it as the background behind other pieces, I don't know that you would really notice that. So I'm cutting it this way, and we're just going to improvise when we get to those cards. So we're going to cut it at 6 inches, right in half. We'll put this piece aside for our second set of cards, and this is the one that we're going to use. So you can see that the template, you're going to have to cut it across. There's no straight down on this template. So your first cut is going to be at 5 1/4. So you're going to turn your paper and cut at 5 1/4. Then we'll put this piece aside, and we're going to cut this piece. We've cut it 5 1/4. We're going to cut it at 4, which is going to give us a piece that is 4 by 5 1/4, and then a piece that is 2 by 4. No, 2 by 5 1/4. Sorry. Then the bottom of your paper, we're going to cut it in half again. Well, not in half. You're going to cut it at 4 1/4. So you'll turn it again, cut at 4 1/4 this time. Put this piece aside, turn this one. So you're going to cut this in half at 3 inches. So you'll have two pieces that are 3 by 4 1/4, and those will be your C pieces. And then for your D pieces, we're going to cut them in half as well at 3 inches. So you'll have two pieces that are 2 1/2 by 3. Okay, so those are the pieces that we are playing with. I'm going to set that aside over there. Okay, so we've made some card bases. This is the card base for that card that I showed you. This one, that was the inspiration card. So the card base itself is just a piece that is 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. And on that one, we're going to use our A piece. And as I said, we're going to turn it. So your strawberries, my strawberries are going sideways, but I don't think once I get the other piece on there that that's going to matter. So all one sheet wonders, I think, are better with a piece of designer series paper that is non-directional. If you have one that is directional and you want your pieces to be landscape, you will just cut it the other way. All right, so we're going to put this on there, and then our little card goes on top of that. And it takes up quite a bit of room on your card, so it covers up a lot of that designer series paper, and you're really just seeing the colors behind it. So we're going to just mount that to the middle of the card. Okay, and then I've got a little mat for the front. That is going to be, I don't have to measure it, I can look it up, 4.5 by 3.25. And that is going to mat one of our little C pieces. And we're going to use the other side of that paper for the front here. So you can keep it on the whichever side you'd like to do. On the other card, I will flip it and leave the berries up. But on this particular one, I want to show both sides. So we're going to put the little strawberry seeds on this side. So we will just adhere this. Hi, Julie. Hi, Cynthia. Sorry, I hadn't looked up to see what was happening and who was watching. Thanks for tuning in. And then we're going to put our little insert in, which is also going to be 4.5 by 3.25. Okay. So there you go. You've got your card started. I have cut out some different little pieces to decorate my cards. Some of these were fussy cut out of this Berry Delightful paper. And then a couple of things were fussy cut out of the new paper that is called, what is it called? Homemade Sweetness? Homemade Sweetness. Just because I couldn't resist, because it has a little thing with strawberry preserve, so why wouldn't you? All right, so then I also have done some punching. I had a layered oval punch, which is super easy, and I just thought it looked real homey. Kind of went with the strawberries. So I'm going to stamp in Poppy Parade. Let's do this one as a birthday card. So we've got one little piece, and we will layer that up on its little layered mat here. And that can go right on the front of our card. And again, you can make these as busy as you'd like, or you can just make them super simple. Let's see. Well, let's do it to the side. And let's see, maybe we can get a little strawberry. How about a light colored strawberry that will show up? And there you go. So there's your first card, and that's using your one of your A piece and one of your C pieces. Okay, so we'll set that one aside. I'll remember where I put them. All right, so the next piece we are going to use is your B piece. And again, this is the little strawberries, and mine are going sideways, so we can use it like that, or we can turn it this way. I have cut a card base that is 4.25 by 11 and scored it at 5.5. So my intention was originally to do a mat. The mat is 5.25 by 4. I think my blueberry paper was more of an all over print. And then this looks really big. Why is this so big? All right, we need to cut this down. This was 4.25 by 4, so this needs to be 4 inches. Right? No, 5.25. I almost just messed that up, guys. 5 1/4. Right? Right. But why is it so wide? Why did I make it so wide? I don't know. Let's cut this down. So this should be 2. So this should be 2 1/4. I don't know, unless I just grabbed the wrong piece. 2 1/4. All right, that's a little bit better. Was a little out of proportion there. So we'll use a 2 1/4 by 5 1/4 inch piece for a mat. Oops. If I could glue it on straight there, that would be, there we go. All right, and then we're just going to add that to our card. Straight across. There we go. And I just really don't think that it matters that the strawberries are a little crooked or sideways. I don't think it matters. I'm going to go with the little red one this time with my little white insert. And again, I'll just stamp in red again. What else have we got here? We've got Hope You Feel Better Soon. Really soon. Hope you feel better really soon. How adorable is it? Okay, I don't think I told you. The punch that I'm using, or the stamps that I'm using, coordinated with that punch, and it's called Punch Party. And there are a lot of little different sentiments in there. But I love pulling out my old stuff. When do you go back and use your old stuff? For me, that's just a once in a while thing. And it's fun. All right, so I'm going to do Feel Better Soon. We could do some strawberry preserves on there. Wouldn't that be nice? And then we send a little treat along with our little card. That would be very nice. All right, so let's glue down the preserves. And the red in this homemade sweetness paper is Strawberry Slush. So it's not an exact match, but I don't really think that you can tell. All right, let's get a little dimensional on the spoon. And then we will do some dimensionals on our sentiment. Oh, this way. And there we go. All right, so, oops, you're crooked, but that's all right. So that's your B piece. Okay, so you've got a couple of options for that. You can use it without a mat, or you can mat it, or you could layer it up with another piece. All right, we'll set that one aside, and we're on to a C piece. So this one, I have a garden green card base that is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2 and scored at 4 1/4. And I'm going to use, that's the inside, I'm going to use a small mat that is 3 1/4 by 4 1/2 for my C piece. Just very simple. Hi, Joyce. Okay, wait, I'm trying to read your comment here. Why wouldn't you cut out the center of the DSP on the first layer to use later? Oh, well, see, you are very frugal. That you definitely could do that. especially if you are doing a die cut out of a piece of cardstock or out of a piece of designer series paper. You could certainly then cut around that cut in order to use the rest of that paper. Okay, so here's my C piece with a mat. And on this one, I think I'm going to just use maybe a circle. That's kind of big, maybe a small circle. These were cut with the Stylish Shapes dies. And let's do some green. And will this fit on here? This is going to be heartfelt thanks for everything. And we'll just add that right to our card. With some dimensionals, I keep losing. Okay. And again, you could add some ribbon behind this to make it a little bit fancier if you'd like. But there you go. And then we'll get our insert for the inside, which is 5 1/4 by 4. All right, so that's a card with your C piece. And then we've got the 2 little D pieces. So I think, yes, I did make some mats. Okay, so on this one, I was going to combine these. So this is a white card base that's 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored at 4 1/4. And then I've got a mat that is 4 1/4, 5 1/4 by 4. Sorry. All right. And I do like to combine these 2 little pieces, but you certainly could do them separately. We can mat this up and do one on a card, and so you could make 2 cards with both of these pieces. But this time I'm going to layer these up. So one, I'm going to use the strawberry side. Just center that. And then the other one, I'm going to use the side with the seeds. And there we go. And then I'm just going to layer them onto the card front and get a sentiment on there. So depending if you want your designer series paper to go even farther, you can, oops, I'm going too far to the right there. You can make a card with each one of these pieces. And there we go. And then I think I'm going to use a circle here in the middle or on the side. Oh, I like it on that side. All right, so let's do green maybe. And we'll do our thanks again. I always need thank you cards. Birthday and thank you cards. Those are the 2 things that I seem to use the most. And some dimensionals. Hi, Anne. Thanks for joining. Yeah, I was trying to make the red and green not look too Christmassy. And I think that looks really cute with the strawberries. And again, of course, you could add some little fussy cut pieces to this one. And you can just get as creative as you want. Make it as fancy as you'd like. Let's use some flowers instead of some bling. Although I think strawberry flowers, aren't they white? I'm not sure. All right, so there you go. There's your 2D pieces. Okay. Well, since I have the other piece here, and these cards are combining pieces and shouldn't take too long, we can create the other side. All right, so let's cut this again. Again, with our template, we're going to make the first cut at 5 1/4. We're going to turn our paper and go at 5 1/4. Set this piece aside. Then this one we're going to turn and we're going to cut it at 4. So you'll have the 4-inch piece, 4 by 5 1/4, and 2 by 5 1/4. Then the next cut, you'll bring this piece in and turn it again. You're going to cut at 4 1/4. Set this last piece aside. And then you're going to turn this again and you'll cut it at 3. Oops. So you'll have 2 pieces, C pieces that are 3 by 4 1/4. And then this last one, you'll bring back in and you're going to cut this at 3 as well. So you'll have the 2 D pieces that are 3 by 2 1/4. Okay. All right, so I used up all my green card bases. I'm on to red. Here we go. Okay, so we've got this one. This is the same layout as the one we did before that was inspired by the card that I received. So it's just the same as this one, but we're not going to do this little card on the front. We're going to just do, we're going to mat our paper and do, just do it flat on the front of the card. Okay, so we're going to use the A piece as our background. And this time we're going to use the seeds. Okay, and then we'll just mat this instead of making that little card. Okay, so that can go right in the middle. Of course, you could definitely do this as a portrait if you'd like, or landscape, whichever you decide. Let's make this one portrait because my strawberries look cute that way. All right, we're going to switch it up. The cards that are on the PDF have this as a landscape card, just so you know. And then we will just put in our insert. There we go. And maybe this time we'll do a little banner. We have some banners that we could do. And We'll go back to our thanks, but I think I want to do Poppy Parade. So let's clean this off before I make a giant mistake and put it in the wrong color. Raise your hand if you've done that. I just did that the other night. I was like very angry with myself. All right, so we're going to do thanks. Get that on there with some dimensionals. There we go. Very cute. And then we've got our B piece. And, oh, what's happening here? All right, so this time we're going to take our B piece and we're going to combine it. So this is a card base that's 5.5 by 8.5 scored at 4 1/4. I'm going to do a white mat on the front. Okay. So this piece again is 2 by 5 1/4. So your mat is 5 1/4 by 4. So this piece can go straight across, and then you can bring in one of your D pieces and you can flip it, and we can combine that for a card front. So as I said, I think all the pieces are substantial enough to make a card with, or you can combine them. You just mat this one. And if people are yelling or asking questions, let me know. I will try to answer as best I can. And if I don't get to answer while I am live, then I will answer once I'm done. I will go back and answer. All right, so we'll just put this one here. There we go. And maybe get a little strawberry on here. Maybe a couple strawberries. I had one that was like a half of a strawberry. We can combine that one. All right, so let's do a little sentiment. And did I do happy birthday in red? I did. Okay. We'll do happy birthday. Oh, maybe I should have done it on the other. Oh, I did it upside down. Okay, look at that. See, it was telling me you should stamp on this side and put the strawberries on that side. It saved me from myself. All right, we'll stamp over here. There we go. And some dimensionals. Happy birthday. We want to just kind of center that in our strip there. And then we can add some strawberries. Get that one on there. This one's going to need a dimensional underneath this corner here so that it's at the same level. And then we'll just put some glue on the left where it's going to overlap that other one. There we go. Happy birthday. It's cute for a summer card. All right, so now we've got a C piece and a D piece left. And oops, I forgot my insert. Hang on, gotta go back. I cut them and then I forget to put them in there. But there's nothing more frustrating than going to send the card and you pull it out and it doesn't have the insert in, and then you have to take the time to do it. So you have to remember to put them in there. I'm talking to myself because I'm very bad at that. All right, so then this last one, I'm going to combine these two pieces. So we've got C and D. So again, I'm going to do, no, I'm not. I'm going to put this on the inside. We're going to just mat these up. Sorry, forgot what I was doing. So we're going to mat these up. We're going to use the strawberry seeds. And our mat is 3 1/8 by 4 3/8 on this one. Again, all the measurements for all the cards are on that PDF that's on the Kraken, Crafty Kraken Create page. So we'll put this one in the middle here. And then this one, I'm going to flip and mount. And that little mat is 2 5/8 by 3 1/8. Or this one. Just a tiny border around each one. So you can mount it this way, which is really cute, or you can do it this way. I think I did it this way on the PDF, so let's do it that way. But you have lots of options. Just play with your pieces and see what you come up with. I'd love to see. Oh, I have one more little strawberry preserves. I would love to see what you guys create if you use the template. I'd love to see what paper you use. Do we like the green? Yeah, yes, let's use the green for some contrast. All right. What else did we have here? What was this one? Oh, Feel Better Soon. That's nice. Oh yeah, I used that on the other one with the preserves, and I think that's a great idea. So we're going to just glue that on. And then we will use some dimensionals for that sentiment. Whoops. It's getting away from me. And then our little preserves. I'm going to pop this one up this time. And then we'll see what we're going to do with the spoon. And maybe we'll just glue the spoon down this time, just to make it a little different. Maybe. There we go. Okay, so there's the last one. So I think that was 7 cards. Let's bring them back. Oh my goodness. Okay. So here was the first one. Oh, that wasn't the first one. I already lost the first one. There we go. This was the first one with the little card on the front and with the A and C piece. This is the one with your B piece across the front. And then this one with the C piece. And this one with the two D pieces. And then we had this one with the A piece and a C piece. This one that combined the B and the D. And this last one that combined the C and the D. Okay, so that's that set. I will put a picture of those up on the Crafty Kraken Create page as well as the original samples that I put up. And then I made one more set, because who doesn't want to see one more? With the newer Painterly Pears paper. So this was also with the Perfect Pears, Perfectly Pears stamp set. And this was fussy cut again out of the paper. So here's the card with the A piece and C piece with the little card on the front. And then with the B piece across the front. This time I did not use a mat. Just put it on the card front. And then this one with the C piece. Sideways, and this is portrait this time across the front of the card. Okay, and then the two little D pieces. These are not matted this time. Okay, and then we did this one. This is an A piece, this time with a D piece set to the left side with some die cuts. And then we've got, what have I got? I've got going on here. This is a B piece. This time I raised it, put it to the top of the card with a C piece below it. So you can combine it that way as well. You could even go that way. And then this one used a C piece and a D piece. So there you go. I think if you cut the template, cut your paper with the template, you've got a lot of nice pieces to work with, and you can combine them in a lot of different ways. All right, so let me know if you try it. And if you do make some cards, by all means, put them on the Crafty Kraken Create page. Oh my gosh, I'm lost here. I can't get out. Here we go. There we go. All right, let's move this. There we go. Okay, too much. All right, that's it. Hopefully you guys will print or download the template and try to play with it. And again, if you do, please put your cards on the Crafty Kraken Create page so I can see what you made. Okay, that's it for me. I will be back again next month. It's always the third Thursday of the month. So that's going to be May 20th. So we'll be back with another template and some cards on May 20th with another One Sheet Wonder. So if you'd like, you can pull out your designer series paper and cut it up and play along. If not, you can just tune in and watch. But I think it's a great way to use up some retired paper and make a bunch of cards from one piece. Okay, so that's it for me tonight, guys. Stay crafty, my friends, and have a great weekend.